Hello everyone and welcome to the White Goblin Games living room. Today I have a game for you that has a story behind it. There once was a king, but then one day he was found dead in a barrel of wine. Maybe he was very unlucky and very drunk, or maybe someone stabbed him in the back. Anyway, the throne is now empty and you and your opponent try to claim the throne. Are you interested? Then let's watch how to play Claim. The setup. Shuffle all cards and place them in a face down deck in the middle of the table. Deal each player 13 cards. Each player takes their cards into their hand without showing these to the other player. Phase 1. Recruit followers. Flip the top card from the deck in the middle of the table. You and your opponent will be competing for this card. The leader, that's the youngest player in the first round, plays any card from his hand. You can choose a card from any faction, this doesn't have to be a card from the faction you are competing for. Then the second player plays any card from his hand. He must follow the faction, which means that if the second player has a card in his hand from the faction of the card just played, then he must play that card. A player can only play a card from a different faction if no card in their hand matches the faction of the one played by the leader. The player that played the highest valued card from the faction played by the leader wins the card in the middle. In case of a tie, the leader wins. If the second player played a card from another faction, then the leader automatically wins that round regardless of the number on the card. The winner places their one card face down in their so-called follower deck. The loser takes a card from the top of the deck and places it face down in their follower's deck. The loser may look at the card, but can't show it to the other player. Discard all cards played. The player who won the round is the leader and plays any card from his hand. Another round begins and this continues until both players are out of cards in their hand and the deck is depleted. Phase 2. Gather supporters. Both players take the 13 follower cards they gained into their hand. Now players will play another 13 rounds. However, instead of competing for particular cards in the middle, this time players compete for both cards played each round. Like before, the leader plays any single card from their hand, the second player has to play a card with the same faction or plays a card of a different faction and loses that round automatically, and you determine the winner of the round as before. The winner of the round takes both cards played and puts them face up in his score pile. After all players have played all cards from their hand, all factions are scored. Factions' special powers. Some factions have a special power that affects play. Goblins are doomed in this game and thus they have no special power. If you play a knight after a goblin, it automatically beats a goblin regardless of its value. Played undead cards are not discarded in phase 1 like the other factions' cards, but instead are added to the winner's score pile in that round. In phase 2, the player losing a round collects all dwarves played during this round and adds them to their score pile. The winner will still collect any non-dwarves cards that have been played. The Doppelgängers faction is considered the Joker faction. You may play a Doppelgänger instead of the asked faction, even if you're able to play cards from that faction. If the leader plays a Doppelgänger, the other player still has to follow the faction by playing a Doppelgänger if able. Doppelgängers only copy the faction, not the special power of that faction. End of the game and scoring. The players count how many cards of each faction they have in their score pile. Whoever has the most cards of a faction wins that faction's vote. If both players have the same amount of cards of a faction, the player that has the card with the highest value wins that vote. The player who wins the vote of at least 3 factions wins the game. Claim is a fun little game with a lot of tactics, and you want to see more of these games, go to www.whitegoblingames.nl and don't forget to subscribe, like and comment so that we can make more of these videos for you. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.